and we don't go around punishing people for what they think and what they say. But there was broad agreement on those issues. And for a host of reasons, globalization that disrupts our economy, increases inequality, and for a lot of working people in America and also in Europe and some other places where they had seen steady rise, suddenly their standards of living aren't going up quite as quick. And people start feeling like they're losing ground and they get frustrated. And you start seeing changing demographics. Because, I used to talk about the fact that when I first got to the Senate, people forget this. Because I'm not that old. I mean, older, but, when I got to the United States Senate, I was the only African American in the Senate. And there was one Latino, two actually, two came in with me. Mel Martinez, a Republican, and Ken Salazar, a Democrat. There were still not a lot of women, so that like the Senate gym for men had a swimming pool and all these facilities, and then I think the women were like a modified closet for the handful of women senators. So the point is that bipartisanship worked pretty well in Washington when everybody looked the same. And it was harder to do when people started seeing that, hey, those folks are now here too. So changes in the economy, changes in demographics, and then changes in technology and media. And this brings us to the question of social media. Part of that post-World War II consensus was a certain way of understanding facts and the difference between facts and opinions. And journalistic standards that said you had to check twice, you have to have two sources, and there were flaws with quote-unquote mainstream media, but Walter Cronkite got it right most of the time. And there were some voices that were left out, but we all had kind of a basic shared vision of how do you discover the truth? And what began, by the way, not just with social media, but what began with talk radio and a certain news station that shall remain nameless.
You're among friends.
Yeah. What happened is that how we got information changed, and it was turbocharged by social media. And suddenly you have a big chunk of the country who the reality they're receiving every day is entirely different than the reality I'm receiving. And so that combination of forces, I think, created huge political tensions. And it also got the government stuck. Because of the filibuster, because of gerrymandering, it made it very difficult to move forward and get stuff done in a divided country in which each side has completely different views of what's true and what's false. And so we've been in the midst of that. That was true during my presidency. It predates me. We saw that dating back to Bill Clinton's presidency.